The Louisville men's basketball team has started out a perfect 3-0 in ACC play. They look to extend that winning streak on Wednesday evening as they host the Pittsburgh Panthers at 7 o'clock in the KFC Yum Center. We'll talk about everything you need to know about that matchup on this episode of the Locked On Louisville podcast. Stay tuned.
You are Locked On Louisville, your daily podcast on the Louisville Cardinals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome in to this bonus episode on this Tuesday edition of the Locked On Louisville podcast. Thanks to some equipment malfunction. I'm your host, Dalton Pence. Today's episode is brought to you by Sonos. Experience the game like never before with Sonos Arc, the premium smart soundbar for TV, movies, music, gaming, and more. Visit Sonos.com to learn more. Also want to take this time to say thank you for making us your first listen of the day. And just a reminder, the Locked On Louisville podcast is free on all streaming services, 5 days a week, including YouTube, your team every day. The Cardinals will turn their attention to the Pittsburgh Panthers for a 7 o'clock showdown at the KFC Yum Center tomorrow evening. I'm going to tell you why the Louisville Cardinals should come out victorious in this matchup, and then we'll do a little bit of more analysis in the second and third segments, talking the key players to watch for, the deciding factors, and what I'm looking for the Louisville Cardinals to show me on Wednesday evening. Before we get into the content of today's show, like I mentioned, for those who are not aware of who I am, my name is Dalton Pence. I'm a credentialed media member for Cardinals Sports Zone, where I serve as both a football beat writer and a recruiting analyst. I also do some PA announcing work for the university in various sports. You can follow my personal Twitter in the handle in the graphic in the bottom left hand of your screen. Also, you can follow the podcast Twitter page at LO_Louisville. Let's get right on into it. The Cardinals turn their attention after a victory against Georgia Tech now to the Pittsburgh Panthers for a 7 o'clock ESPNU matchup at the KFC Yum Center at home. And I got to be honest, Pittsburgh is a team to where it's hard to justify any type of optimism through the first 13 games for the Panthers. Really just not necessarily a good start, very lackluster, 5-8 on the season, all 5 wins. None of them have come to a Power 5 opponent. UNC Wilmington, Towson, Colgate, Jacksonville, and St. John's are the 5 victories on the docket for Pittsburgh thus far. The losses have come to 15 points to the Citadel, 15 to West Virginia, 16 to Vanderbilt, 10 point to UMBC, 1 point to Minnesota, 1 to Virginia, 4 to Monmouth, 1 to Notre Dame. So ultimately, the Pittsburgh Panthers really could end up being in the bottom 4 of the ACC when the conference play is all said and done. I think that the Cardinals should come out victorious in this one. I'm not saying that it is a foregone conclusion, because we've seen since the Cardinals have been playing basketball, it seems that any team can win on any given day. You still have to handle business, and the way that Louisville has struggled with consistency at times, it is no done deal that Louisville's going to come victorious. But they should. The number one reason why is because Pittsburgh is one of the worst teams offensively in the country, 340th out of 358 possible teams in points scored per game. So they're averaging 61.2 points per game. And although it is going to be interesting to see how where the scoring comes from for the Cardinals, I think that this is an opportunity for Louisville to get a 15-point win in the ACC and try to get the morale up to the point when they go into Tallahassee on Saturday. They're riding a little bit of a momentum high, but ultimately this is a contest that I believe that Louisville really just. Some of these games they just should win. At the end of the day. I'm going to look this spread up real quick. I apologize for not already having this taken care of. Forgive me. I would be surprised if the spread is Let's see. The odds to be determined. That makes no sense. This isn't what I was looking for at all. Okay, here we go. The odds for the contest on Wednesday night. It is. I mean, how is it still unavailable? Regardless, Louisville is likely favored. Not necessarily significantly, but definitely going to be one of those matchups to where I think that the Cards are probably going to win this game by double digits. Pittsburgh, you just question where the program is going. It seems like they're kind of slowly falling into times when I think 2016, 2017 Pittsburgh-ish. So Louisville has an 89.2% chance to win this game according to ESPN's Basketball Power Index. And this is going to be a contest to where when you look at it surface level, there are a couple things to look at for this one. But the deciding factors are basically going to be something that Louisville has really kind of gone into all year long. So, a couple things to focus on here for Louisville. I think it's a matter of staying the course, continuing to get the chemistry aspect of it right. I'd like to see Mason Faulkner back. Hopefully, there's no guys that are not able to play due to COVID protocols or due to injury. I like Louisville's depth in this one, even though they've struggled with depth issues because Pittsburgh is not a team that really plays all that deep. Most of their main contributors are in 3 to 4 players. They just struggle all across the board. They're just trying to find some type of a spark, but ultimately, since they've gotten in conference play, they're 0-2 or they're 0-2 in conference play. Any opponent that they've really played in the Power 5 hasn't been close outside of the 2 in conference play. So they are seemingly playing a little bit better, although it's hard to really tell how good Notre Dame and Virginia are, as it should be early on in conference play. Notre Dame does have a victory over Kentucky. Virginia, as we all know with Tony Bennett, sometimes it doesn't matter how much talent they have. They're just always, very good due to coaching, although they are 8-5. So the ACC is down this year. Like Georgia Tech, this is just a matter of avoiding a bad loss. If you are the Louisville Cardinals, obviously you don't look at it that way. You look at it as winning another ACC game, trying to improve your overall record and improving your stance and trying to get into the top 4 consideration of the conference and get that double bye in the conference tournament, and also at the end of the day trying to bolster that tournament resume by any means possible. So I think that this is going to be a Louisville win on Wednesday evening. I'm predicting probably, let's say 70-59. I think that that's probably a good area. I think that with Pittsburgh's struggles scoring the ball, Louisville, not the greatest defensive team, but they're very top 40 in rebounding. I like where they stand. They're better in pretty much all statistical categories than the Pittsburgh Panthers. So definitely one to keep an eye out on is that rebounding category. Before we get into the key players to watch and the deciding factors for the game, let's talk about our friends at Get Upside. Hey, Cardinal fans, once again, this is your host, Dalton Pence, with an incredible app everyone who buys gas needs to know about. Get Upside. My listeners are making up to 25 cents for every gallon of gas every time they fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app in the App Store or Google Play and use the promo code SCORE and get a bonus 25 cents per gallon on your first fill up. That's up to 50 cents in total cash back. Don't pay full price at the pump anymore. Use the promo code SCORE to get up to 50 cents a gallon cash back on your first tank. Some people who drive a lot are making as much as $200 to $300 a month in cash back, and there's no catch whatsoever. You can cash out at any time to your bank account, PayPal, e-gift card for Amazon, and other brands. Just download the app today, the free Get Upside app on both the App Store and Google Play, and use the promo code SCORE to get up to 50 cents a gallon cash back on your first tank. Also want to talk about our friends at BetOnline. As you know, BetOnline has had you covered this holiday season with more odds, props, and lines than ever before as the football season continues its march through the college bowls and toward the pro football playoffs. It remains your number one spot for all the sports action Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit by using the promo code Locked On. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports, and BetOnline is where the game starts. Talking a little bit more in depth in terms of analysis surrounding this matchup for the Louisville men's basketball team with the Pittsburgh Panthers tomorrow evening. Panthers coming into this matchup 5-8, one of the worst offensive teams in the country when it comes to scoring the basketball. I want to focus on the key players to watch for both teams. We will start with the Pittsburgh Panthers, and for the Panthers, it all starts with forward John Hugley. Leads the team in points per game and rebounds per game. 14.8 points per game, 7.9 rebounds per game. Shoots the ball decent from the field, not as great as you would want for a big, but doesn't necessarily shoot the ball well from three either. Pittsburgh, not necessarily all that great of a 3-point shooting team either. We talk about Louisville not necessarily being a great team shooting the ball from distance. Pittsburgh is even worse. Femi Odukale, 12 points per game, just over that mark. He is averaging just about 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a little bit of everything. A lot of their, like I said, they're not a great scoring team. 3 guys scoring double figures, Hugley, Odukale, and Jamarius Burton. And, no other player scores more than 8 points. So, a lot of their production coming from that top 3. John Hugley, the main player to focus on for Louisville. If you can make life tough for him in this one, I would imagine that would bode well for the Cardinals' chances. The 6'9", 240-pound forward from Cleveland, Ohio, has the potential to match up well with a Louisville front court. However, I do like the fact that they can throw Malik Williams and Jae'Lyn Withers his way, or even Sidney Curry. So John Hugley, the player to watch, one of the players to watch for here for Pittsburgh. Femi Odukale, the other one. The 6'5" Brooklyn native is shooting the ball. Not necessarily the greatest. He's 35.5% from 3, 38.4% from the field. So, Pittsburgh not only does not score the ball, all that well, but they don't shoot the ball all that well either. And that, I guess you could kind of say that really is an association. Dalton. Like, at the end of the day, it's kind of where it comes from. So, those 2 players to watch for the Pittsburgh Panthers. For Louisville, it's a little different. There's a couple players that I'm looking for to really play good in this one. I think Malik Williams is a player that, as he has gone, the offense has gone early on in the ACC slate. I look for him to have another good, game, especially against Pittsburgh, for a team that doesn't get a too awful much production out of their front court. So I think that Malik Williams, with his ability to stretch the floor, could be a mismatch nightmare for a guy like Hugley with a bigger frame. So I like to see Malik Williams with a better opportunity here to really come out and leave his mark on the game. The other player that I would like to see, due to the fact that, Pittsburgh does a decent job of defending. They're 84th in the country when it comes to, scoring defense, allowing, 64 points per game on average to their opponents early on this season. So I think that when it comes to the second player that we need to watch for, well, at the end of the day, I think it's going to be Mason Faulkner if he plays, but, it's kind of up in the air. I would like to, if you putting Faulkner aside just for a little bit, I want to see a guy like Matt Cross get his 3-point shooting going. He's been a guy that hasn't necessarily shot the ball all that great at times this season, has struggled with consistency, but he has found ways to affect the game in more ways than just scoring, whether that be rebounding, trying his hardest on defense, moving without the ball on offense. I look for this to be a possible game to where he scores upward of 15 points by getting some good shots. And I like the fact that, maybe, Louisville trying to run this Pittsburgh team down. And I would like to see, a lot of pressure on the opposing guard play. This is going to be an interesting matchup. The deciding factors for the game for Louisville, I feel like it's going to be, what we've seen early on. It's going to be, shot selection / turnovers. If the offense is, any resemblance shows any resemblance of, what they've seen in the second half against Wake Forest, first half against NC State, somewhat in the second half against Georgia Tech. If we can see more of the same in some parts of each of those games, or we see good stretches, I think that this could be a blowout win. But we've also seen that Louisville has gone ice cold at times due to the fact that their shot selection hasn't necessarily been the greatest. Turnovers have led to missed opportunities on the offensive side. So I think you can kind of group those together in like the same deciding factor, because I think they play hand in hand, and I think it's just a matter of offensive cohesion is the blanket term that you could probably put both of those under. And secondly, I think it's a matter of perimeter defense for the Cardinals. Pittsburgh, not necessarily a good shooting team by any stretch of the imagination. They shoot 29% from behind the arc, and this is going to be an opportunity for the Louisville defense to take advantage of a team that has struggled all year long to score the basketball. And I would have to look. I don't think that Pittsburgh has played one top 25 team, so it's not like they're playing the greatest competition. I think their strength of schedule is 67th in the country, so it's respectable. It's not the greatest, but at the end of the day, it's one that you have to look at and you're like, okay, well, at least they're not playing all cupcakes. I mean, they played a slew of Power 5 opponents, but at the end of the day, I would like to see this Louisville team not only become more efficient on offense, but I would like to see them be a little bit more disruptive on defense. I think that at times teams shoot decently against the Cards from behind the arc, and I would like to see more contesting shots, just better defense overall when it comes to switching, not leaving guys open, especially in the corner that we've seen at times, especially in that Wake Forest game. I think that there were times where we saw a lot of wide open guys in the second half of that contest, but overall this gives the Cards a good chance to improve on the things that they have been lacking. And we'll talk in the next segment about some things that I would personally like to see, kind of going a little further, individually, and what we could see from certain individual players. But when it comes to an overall sense, the key players to watch in this one, for Louisville, it's Malik Williams, it's Matt Cross. You could make the case for Mason Faulkner. Like I said, Noah Locke's another one. This is going to be an opportunity for the Cardinals to be able to work through some of the kinks and through some of the wrinkles that basically a whole new depth chart has presented forward. So before we talk about some things that I want to see from some individual players, let's talk about our friends down at NetSuite. I want you to imagine a situation. So this is it. The putt to win the tournament. If you sink it, the championship is yours, but on your backswing, your hat falls over your eyes. Is this how you're running your business? Poor visibility because you're still relying on spreadsheets and outdated financing software? To see the full picture, you need to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle. It's the #1 cloud financial system to power your growth. With visibility and control of your financials, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and much more, it's everything you need to grow all in one place. You can automate your processes and close your books in no time while staying well ahead of the competition. Over 28,000 businesses already use NetSuite. For the new year, NetSuite has a new financing program for those ready to upgrade at netsuite.com/locked. Head to netsuite.com/locked for this special one-of-a-kind financing offer on the #1 financial system for growing businesses, netsuite.com/locked. I haven't necessarily done a segment like this ever since the introduction of this podcast back on August 2nd. And admittedly, there probably hasn't been that many opportunities, and I don't really feel comfortable doing it since the season. There's not a huge sample size thus far, but I want to talk about what I want to see from some of the individuals on the team in this game against Pittsburgh. Starting out with Jae'Lyn Withers, he's a guy that in ACC play has pretty much been obsolete, and all season long he struggled to find his footing. I would like to see high effort from him on both ends of the glass, attacking the Pittsburgh front court and just overall, succeeding in pick and rolls. I would like to just see high effort from him on both ends because I feel like this is a contest, against a Pittsburgh team that is struggling to get things going. You could have comfortable leads, so you might not necessarily have high stress situations. This poses a great opportunity early in the conference play to where you still have a lot of season to go. You have a lot of season to continue to get into form. I'm not saying you have to come in and put up 20 and 15 right away, but this is an opportunity to see a couple shots fall, to utilize mismatches down low against Pittsburgh. This is a great opportunity for Jae'Lyn Withers to start to break out of his funk. You play a team that might struggle to keep up, and ultimately I would like to see Jae'Lyn Withers really be effective, number one on the glass, but also be strong around the rim and finish strong around the rim as well. If Mason Faulkner plays, I would like to see the Louisville offense run through him a little more. This is no disrespect to Jared West because I feel like he has been, instrumental in what the Cardinals have been doing, but I do feel like Mason Faulkner gives the Cardinals a little bit higher of an offensive ceiling. I feel like the offense flows a little more when Faulkner is in the game. He is a pass-first point guard. However, he does he has been kind of a pass-first point guard, although he came into Louisville, more so as a scorer. But I like his ability to, get by the defender. He has a quick first step, and I just overall am, really high on his game and think that his best play is ahead of him. And, this is no disrespect to Jared West. Like I said, I think he's an extremely important player to this team. He has made some big plays down the stretch and in a lot of games this season. But I do think that I want to see some offense I want to see the offense run a little bit more with Mason Faulkner, assuming that he is able to play against Pittsburgh. When it comes to some other players, I would like to see Dre Davis also, take advantage of some mismatches and be able to, see some of his shots fall and get to the basket. L. Ellis, this is a great opportunity for him as well. Some guys that maybe not necessarily have struggled in the past couple of weeks, but might not have played up to their potential. Just some untimely turnovers. I think that this is a good opportunity for L. Ellis to really put together a solid game scoring wise, and we could see both him and Faulkner run the lead guard responsibilities here. So for Louisville, I think it's if you want to tie in all the individuals, it's just honing in on improving some of their individual I guess you say discrepancies, so to speak. I focus on Jae'Lyn Withers and L. Ellis because I think that both of them obviously are two of the most talented, if not the most talented guys on this roster. Jae'Lyn Withers has been in a season-long slump. We've seen some moments of absolute brilliance from L. Ellis thus far this season. We saw in East Lansing against Michigan State in December and Chris Mack's first game back. This is more so an opportunity for both of them to try to gain their footing respectively in their own seasons and try because I feel like if they're able to get going against a team like this, because this is going to be a good tune-up matchup for what's to come on Saturday. Florida State, not as good as in years past, but the Seminoles seemingly have been the Cardinals' kryptonite, or one of the Cardinals' kryptonite teams since joining the ACC, especially in the past 3 to 4 years with their length and athleticism. To get the Cardinals playing good and having Uncle Mo on their side would be a big, just an overall big contribution heading into that matchup. And for other guys like Mason Faulkner and Dre Davis, I would like to see just a little more, because I feel like we're on this threshold of where these guys are so close to like breaking, turning the table. I'm sorry, not the table, turning the corner in terms of their respective seasons and getting more production out of them, especially Mason Faulkner. I'm probably leading the Mason Faulkner train. I like what he brings to the table as a perimeter scorer. I like what he brings to the table as, a secondary ball handler, a guy that can blow by his man. And I like his defensive, upside as well. And, it's just a little bit higher than Jared West's offensive upside. So ultimately, this matchup provides a lot of opportunities for the Cardinals to not necessarily go through the motions, but work on the things that they needed to work on all season long, and we're looking forward to improve. This should be a Cardinal victory. Like I mentioned, I'm predicting 70-59 in favor of the home team. However, you still have to handle business. It is a road – I'm not a road game. It is a conference game, and every conference game has the ability to be challenging. So, obviously, we will recap that game on the Thursday edition of the show. Tomorrow, we will finally bring back on Jeremy Wallman, Cardinal Sports Zone co-founder, for his weekly appearance. He hasn't been on the past 2 weeks due to the holidays and due to some health issues and some scheduling issues or health issues with his dad. So continue to pray for Don Wallman, and he's getting better, but he can still use prayers. Jeff Nunn lost a family member yesterday, a Cardinal Sports Zone photographer. Definitely, send your thoughts to him and all those that are struggling with their health, and the pandemic and stuff like that, and stuff like, all of that good stuff. So keep everyone in your thoughts in this time. A couple quick shout outs first to the Cardinal Sports Zone podcast. The most recent one was dropped. The most recent episode dropped, I should say, last Sunday on CardinalSportsZone.com. You can check that out. Also, check out the Locked On Bets podcast hosted by your boy Q with handicapping expert analysis from Lee Sterling. You can follow that on the Odyssey app or wherever you like to get your podcast. That's going to wrap up this second and bonus episode of this Tuesday edition of the show. Everyone have a great day, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.